I'm the owner here at Core Motor Cars. We've been in the business, I've been in the business for over 20 years, and I guess our passion is air-cooled cars. We sell a lot of different cars, but air-cooled is our passion, so. Yeah, so the 964s, basically they ran from 89 to 94 in North America. Basically, they're an updated version of the Carrera. The updates on the 964 would have been, most significant would have been the suspension, along with the plastic bumper. So on the suspension, they went to a coil-over setup as opposed to the torsion beam suspension of the older cars. That was the big upgrade in these cars. Ran the same G50 transmission as the 87 to 89 Carreras. They introduced all-wheel drive with the 964. Other than the 959, this was the first production all-wheel drive for Porsche. Kind of borrowed from the 959s as well. Power, 3.6 liter, flat six, air-cooled, 250 horsepower. Naturally aspirated. They did run a turbo as well. It kind of sits in a kind of a unique place. It sits between the Carreras and the SCs, those cars, and it kind of is an upgrade to those cars in drivability. It was a smoother car to drive, easier car to drive. Transmission was smoother, even though it was still the G50 tranny of the 87 to 89s. It was a smoother transmission to drive. Power steering was introduced in the 964s. Air conditioning system. The nice thing about the 964s is it stuck with the bug-eye headlights from the previous generation. The 993s kind of walked away from that. I don't know if you see the 993 in the background, but it's there somewhere. So the 964, yeah, it's kind of the bastard child of Porsche for the longest time, because two issues with these cars. One was earlier models, 89, 90s, 91s, they didn't have a gasket in between the cylinder heads and the block, so a lot of them leaked. The second issue was the dual mass flywheel. As it aged, the ceramic in the middle of the dual mass flywheel would get brittle, it would disintegrate, and you'd have to replace the flywheel. I mean, the flywheels in most of these cars have been replaced anyways due to time and servicing and stuff. These are 30-year-old cars now. But those were the two main issues, and a lot of guys, you know, considered a 964 as a problematic car, so they weren't fetching the money they should have fetched way back in the day. My car's in the back there. I bought my car, it's 1990 C2, back in, I believe it was around 2005. At full service history, it had 68,000 kilometers on it when I bought it, and I paid $22,000 for it. They were cheap cars. Cheap cars back in the day. These cars have gone crazy. So they've basically, 993s were always at the top. If you just look at all the naturally aspirated cars, the 993s were always at the top, other than some special ones, obviously. But the 993s as a model was always at the top. The newest car, most expensive. 964s were kind of at or below the Carreras and some SCs. But over the last, I'd say 5, 7, 8 years, they've really crept up. So Singer's kind of helped these cars out as well, because all of their cars are based on the 964 platform. And then I think just a lot of guys have come to realize its value. It's like, other than the 993, it's the most modern air-cooled 911, and then also it's easy to upgrade the suspension, easy to upgrade the motor. It's got the most horsepower other than the 993s. And again, it's the last of the bug-eye headlight cars. So a lot of guys are gravitating towards these. These are all, 964s are also the last of the completely hand-built air-cooled 911s. It was the first 911 I ever drove. When I can't even remember, it was in my late teens or early 20s, and I remember going to a Porsche dealership and convincing the salesman there that I could actually afford one of these things, and he gave me the keys to a brand new 964, and I drove it, and I thought, that's it. One day I'm going to own one of these cars, and I own one. I have for the last 15, 17 years. So that's what makes it special to me. It's a tough one to be getting into these days because the market is so high on these cars. It is a commitment to be picking up a 964 today. They're fetching big dollars, like even the ones that need a lot of work, that have high mileage. If you can find one that's been done and done right, no accidents, no rust, and then as much of the work, so brakes, suspension, engine, top end rebuild, if you can find one that's had that work done, absolutely. Because the spread's not there between a car that needs all of that work and a car that's had it all done. So you may as well buy one that the guy's already gone through it. But the fun part is as well, is if you find one that you may be able to get a decent price on it, the fun part is you can pick and choose what you want to do. You can pick what suspension you want to put into it. You can pick the exhaust. You can keep it as a 3.6. You can make it a 3.8. You can choose the cams you want. Yeah, you can kind of personalize the car that way. The really cool part is we have 3 964s in here right now. So we've got this one that's been tastily modified for the street, and this one, as we were saying, is on Bring a Trailer. It's going to be sold. Come on back and I'll show you mine. I've owned this car for like 17 years. It's been my track car. I bought it with the intention of making it into a track car. 964s are not the best stock track cars, but I did it anyways. And I drove it on the track for over 10 years. I completely gutted it. I took out all the interior. There's no sound insulation in the car anymore. There's no radio, there's no air conditioning. All of that is gone. I put the RS door cards in it. I put the RS carpet kit in it. I put the Recaro pole positions in it. And then we completely rebuilt the motor on this. This one leaked. That's why we had to do it. It was great. And then one day coming home from the track in Oregon, the whole back end was covered in oil, and it was an engine out fix. So at that point, it was just like, okay, let's just do it. So we basically built the motor. The nice thing about these cars, once you do the top end rebuild on them, they're good for another 150, 200,000 miles. Like, it's crazy. So if it's been done, that's why I was saying, if it's been done and been done at the right place, you don't have to worry about it anymore. It's good. Track car, right? and then this is pretty neat. We've got a one owner, all original, Vancouver car. Never modified, nothing. 55,000 kilometers. So this is one of the, if not the first 964 that was delivered here in Vancouver. Porsche delivered all these cars to North America. They had to raise them up in order to get bumper compliance. So all the North American cars sit ridiculously high. So that was one of the reasons why a lot of guys would change the suspension in these cars, is because they just sat so high. Yeah, a lot of guys, when they ordered these cars, they would have Porsche, before they even picked them up brand new, they would have Porsche put the European springs in them to lower them. I remember driving it in traffic as if I was driving my car, and then for a second just thinking, wait a second, I better be careful no one hits me from behind and no one hits me, because I can't find another one of these cars. It's an all original car. Like, there's no way I'm finding another all original, one owner car. So yeah, kind of scared me on the drive home. But it drives like what you would think a brand new 964 would drive like. Like you can't, there's no way you're ever duplicating this car. I'm sure another one exists somewhere, but we're in Vancouver, so another one doesn't exist in Vancouver, right? Oh, that's pretty cool. I really like that. I like having it here. That's why it's not for sale. Because I'm afraid if I sell it, it'll go away and then I'll never see it again. Yeah, thanks for watching the video. If you guys liked it, thumbs up and subscribe. All right, thanks guys.